I was in college when my sister ended up tragically. Her eyes were gouged out, her lips were cut off, her neck was twisted backwards, her nose was cut off, and it never left us as a family. It is raw. There is just a generation that did not deserve to parent anyone. The generation that has got no sense of responsibility over the children they have mothered and fathered.
Yeah, separation and divorce.
Those two things, it is practical death. And the children and even the spouses mourn it.
Now picture this. A man has a conflict with his wife at around 4 a.m. in the morning. When dawn breaks, he leaves the wife behind, picks his child for school, but along the way, he picks another partner. How would such a child deal with the situation? In short, we are asking, as parents, do we assess the impact of our conflicts to the little ones, our children? That's the discussion we're just about to have with our guest today, Teacher Christine Volimo, from here in Kitengela, Kajiado County. My name is Kingori Wangeshi. Welcome to Tuko Talks. Christine, now do I tell you welcome to Tuko, or do I say thank you for welcoming us?
Both.
In your space.
Both.
So welcome to this discussion. Welcome to Tuko Talks then, I should say.
Thank you.
But first, who is Christine?
I'm a teacher by profession. I'm an accredited mediator by the High Court of Kenya. I'm a counselor. I'm a speaker. Then I'm a life coach. So all those hats fall under what teaching did to me. What
is your experience in teaching before we get into how your family is composed?
I intentionally became a teacher. In my other world, I was a lab technologist. Those days we were very few women at Kenya Polytechnic. So, but the test tubes never used to talk to me. So I decided I will go in an environment where there's a voice.
Yes.
So I chose to be a teacher intentionally because of my own experience with my teachers.
Okay.
Yes.
How long has that been?
I was close to 30 years before I dropped my baton.
Okay.
Yes.
You passed it on.
Yes, I passed it on. I passed it on again intentionally.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, how is your family composed?
I'm a mother of 3 grown daughters and 5 grandchildren. Oh my goodness, they add life to my life.
Awesome. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come and have this discussion that is quite heavy. It is common, and as a teacher, why did you decide to write to us to tell us that you would like to discuss harmful behaviors between parents and how they affect children and especially students?
Having sat at a teacher's desk for more than 2 decades, almost close to 3, I wasn't in the classroom only for grades. In fact, I entered that classroom because I knew that teachers are more with the children than the parents. And I went into that teaching profession so intentionally. And I knew children are grown adults in small bodies. They only don't know how to behave like adults. They only do that when they become adults. And the thing that really pushed me into primary school teaching, that is where life really happens. I used to ask myself the question, why do people change? When this person was a child, their character was this way. But now that they are grown, why are they so different? What has shifted? And that's what really made me interested in the parents' contribution, the community, the adults in the life of a child. That's why I sat in the classroom.
Okay.
Yes.
As a teacher, and according to the message that you sent to us, there are several examples that you cited that you saw shifting or changing a life of a child caused by their parents. What are some of these examples? specifically?
Step parents in a child's life. I would watch a child change behavior. Either they've never been wetting themselves in class, they haven't been rough, they've been friendly, but then they turn to be very aggressive, and I would know that something has changed. At home, not at school, at home. So I would then go into the life of this child and just quietly sit with them and ask, what is going on at home? Tell me about home. Tell me about mom. Tell me about dad. Because, you know, at a certain age, they are very honest. They don't lie. Between the ages of 0 and maybe 10, 9 there, they will tell you the honest truth.
Yes.
That home there is trouble, mom left, and we have another mother. That's what actually the younger ones would say. My mom left and we have another mother. And when they mention we have another mother, then I realize something is changing in their behavior, their attitude towards life. Even just the way they would become clingy on me, because then I'm the constant. They knew that I'll come to school and I will meet teacher.
Yes.
I will go home, I will meet another mother. So they would become very clingy. In fact, at a certain age, they would literally hold onto my dress. I'm leaving class, they'll hold onto the dress and say, are you leaving me? I say, no. Another teacher is coming in and I'll come back. And then evening comes and they say, I can't go back home. I have to wait until my mother comes to pick me from here. Then I say, no, but you have been going home by yourself. Then they'd say, we changed homes. And then I would know something has changed. So that aspect of a step parent, a stepmother, mostly coming in to the life of the children is what really, again, caught my attention. And anytime that I saw a child, like, you know, you would teach writing, even just simple letters, like letter P. When the child changed to write that P as a 9, I would then realize something has reversed in the mind. Instead of me as a teacher now screaming, why are you writing like this? I would ask, yesterday you wrote like this. Why are you writing like this? Tell me about home. How did you come to school? What is in your lunch box? What have you brought to school? Who brought you to school? Did you come by yourself? Those kind of provoking questions. I would then know that something has changed. So, like some specific students could have more than 4 stepmothers in a short span of time. Like between class 1 and class 8, we've gone through 6
stepmothers.
Yes. And truly so.
They will tell you that is the situation at home.
Yes. And because I was not asking for the sake of having something to talk about. I was asking for the sake of understanding, why is this child literally, and some of them don't have to necessarily drop in their performance. Some of them would then push themselves into performing, so that was their fallback. And it was not necessarily that there's somebody else in their life so they have dropped. No. But just their behavior would drop. If they were talkative, they would keep quiet. If they were friendly, they would become aggressive. If they were clean, something would change. Or alternatively, they would have so much, like they have new uniform all the time. Somebody's trying to prove a point. So I would ask, but you bought 3 pairs of uniform the other day. Why are you buying some more? My mother is buying for me. Which mother? The other mother. Yes. You
cited a case where 2 children or 2 students found out that they have the same dad out of an assignment book that was signed by the same dad, but previously they had no idea.
Yes. And this is a very common occurrence.
It's common.
Yes, when you will talk to more teachers, you will realize that it's actually a common occurrence, because when I sat in the classroom, I would teach the lower classes, then I climb and come up before I sat on one desk for a long time. So I would actually sit in my class 8 class, and then I'll go down to maybe class 1 or 2 to take a subject or 2. And I was very keen. When I checked my diaries, I knew exactly if a signature changed.
You would know.
I would know. But if I saw a familiar signature and somebody has not talked about it, I would know. I want to find out. I was just become curious. Why is this looking too familiar? And many times because parents, let me just say, sometimes they just want to bully each other. So if it is a dad, they'll decide my children will go to the same school. I don't care what you feel. Yes. So they will secretly sneak in this other younger generation that will come. And there's an older generation up there, and these ones have no idea that there's somebody else down here who is completely related to me by DNA. So, and that's the time I would begin to ask, so do you have a younger sister in class 2? They say no. But then when I investigate, I will eventually find out
that it indeed.
Yes. Until one will tell, one, you know, children are very, not naughty, but they are very honest. They'll say, hey, me wana unamsea anakaa wewe. Yes.
So they tell their parents like that?
They tell each other. They tell the children. They can even tell one child, I think I see a small boy in this class who looks like you.
Did they do an investigation themselves, or how did they find out?
Sometimes they would investigate by themselves. Because children, remember my first statement, they are adults.
In small bodies.
In small bodies.
Yes.
They will find out something, or they will go back home and they will have a discussion with the mother and ask mom, is it true? And I know a parent who one time told me the son told us, is it true or not true? Answer the question with one word. Is it yes or no? Is it something you know or you don't know? Answer with one word. Mom, answer with one word. Those are the kind of children we are raising. And the mom had to answer with one word. And sometimes they would be so scared to answer. They would say, Mwalimu, will you come and help us answer with one word?
Yes.
Because we don't know the reaction. And I would tell them, after you have answered, leave the reaction to them. Let them react the way they will, but they will soon be used to it. And you must accept as parents that you lie to children a lot. Yeah.
And by the way, we should have started by saying that we are not against step parenting or co-parenting. We are having a discussion on what their fights as adults do to children.
We cannot even be against it at all because it has become the norm in the society.
Yes.
But when it is a secret kept away from children and what it does to them, which we adults ignore, and we think children can handle it when we can't handle it as adults. We can't handle.
That's why we are showing it out there to the society.
Yes. We can't handle it. It is difficult. Even some parents, people relocate. You move from Nairobi, you go to Mombasa, while you're running away from yourself. You're running away from this reality that this is going on in your backyard. So as parents, sometimes the parents think they can't handle it. So you have a fallback. But the children, they normally used to come and ask me, teacher, what about me? I don't have a fallback. I can't run away from home. I can't go and live in another home. I have to come back to the same place.
Yes.
So even as parents make different decisions, what about us? And I am not against 1,000 times co-parenting or step families. They are here with us to stay.
Okay.
Yes.
They just need to handle their business a little bit better.
Yes.
Now, cite another example before we go to how to cure that and the impact on these children.
If you talked to adults who have ever been in a mix like that, they will tell you it is something that has affected them time immemorial. Talking to one of my students who became an adult and became a man, he said that threw him off balance until he never could handle it any longer, and it threw him into an addiction. Unfortunately, he is not alive anymore. But our discussion was, what would you have liked the adults in your life to do? And the answer was just sit us down and tell us the naked truth. This is what is happening. We are no longer going to live together as parents. I'm going to go my way. Your mom is going to go your way. But you will still be our children. And in fact, when you tell children, you will still be our children, they're looking at you like, do we have an alternative? Why are you telling me you are still my son? I'm your son. Yes. Don't tell me I'm still your son. You know. So if the adults in our lives can just tell us the truth and not save us from the pain of discovering. But unfortunately, the discovering still continues. Yes.
You also saw parents who were fighting outside the school gate.
It was really interesting because they both were coming for a parents-teacher conference. And one was trying to tell the other, we can't both be here. So one says, I am going to be there. The other one says, I am going to be there. So why don't we then take our ugly fights outside here before we even get here? So one of the parents called me and said, you are waiting for us in there. We are outside here, but we are having a bad fight. Please, is it possible for you to come and just help us resolve this thing before we kill each other out here? And I'm thinking, that's not in my jurisdiction. I'm in the classroom waiting for you.
I'm supposed to be with your young one.
Yes, and I'm waiting for you so that you come, we discuss. Why don't you just then both come, we discuss the common factor, the performance of the child, and then after you leave the gate again, continue from where you left, because it's not something that I can handle here. But the fights that actually used to come to my desk were those ones in the morning, maybe before they just come to school and a child comes and says, because I used to tell them, when you come late to class, that is why they say the late so-and-so, you're as good as dead, because you miss out on so much. So when you come so late, don't try to come in here, because the plane has already left. The ladder has already been mekunjwa, tushaendoka, don't come. So that the child comes to the back and says, it was beyond what I can do. The fight just began at 4 a.m. in the morning. And now you come and mom has been left at the gate. And we have picked somebody else along the way. And we are being told...
To act as the mother?
No, not to act as the mother. It is just a relationship that is going on, maybe, between dad and whoever it is. And the child is being told, don't tell your mother. So we are in class and our mind is completely wandering. And I'm looking at this child, I'm wondering, you are never absent-minded. What is going on?
Just thinking about what happened in the morning.
Yes, in the morning. We've been brought to school, we've left mom at the gate, we've been dropped in school. What is this? So that is when we'll have that discussion. So what happened? Do you want to tell me about it? How would you like me to support you? How do I help? Why don't we just talk to my parents to stop fighting? Yeah.
Wow, it's that deep.
It is. And it is not, this provokes, sometimes I on my Facebook posts, I post some things and stones can be thrown, but it is not even to demonize anybody, but it is just to say that children have feelings. And for us parents, when we disagree or when something happens to us, we easily have an alternative. But the children are caught in something that they cannot choose something else. Why? Because they're children. They're still depending. When they now grow up, like let's say for example, when they get to maybe class 8, they can confide in me. They would confide in me actually, because now we have built trust. But now remember, they have now built a fence around what has been going on, and they have fenced in everything from preschool up to now this teenage. And as they go out into 13, 14, they have locked up something that will now define them as they grow. So some of them become very angry people, others become so easygoing, others become too easy. They don't even care about themselves. Why? Because they lost it somewhere along the road. Yes.
So which one do you think would would tilt the scales? A child who has many stepdads along the way, or stepmoms along the way, or are they equal? The impact.
If I talk about growing up in a step family, maybe I would be, I would not have a raw experience. Okay, my parents, my dad loved my mom. If he ever hits that woman, it must have been very late in the night. I was asleep and I didn't hear. I never got to experience that kind of violence. And the only secret my parents kept from us was that our stepbrother, our eldest brother, who is now an elderly man now, was our stepbrother. They never told us. And he came in a way that my mom got married to my dad after he lost his first wife. And my mom, you know, that society frightens a woman like that and tells her, if you don't take care of this child very well, your own children will never be blessed. So wanakuzia woga, you know. So my mom lived her life protecting my brother so much. We never knew that he really was not born of my mother. I knew it myself when I was almost in my 40s. I did not know, and nobody ever told us. But after we had now grown up is when we began to hear whispers. And again, I noticed my attitude, or the attitude of my brother towards my mom was sometimes harsh. Yes. Then I would wonder, hey, why has he talked to her like that? I would wonder, but I wouldn't ask. But if I say if there are many stepfathers or stepmothers, I don't know the weight it carries. You cannot even underestimate both ways. Like, let's say, for example, I had children who become very violent, the boys. They would become very violent. And then I would wonder, why are you fighting others? When I follow the story, he says, we have a father in our home. I have a father in my home. And I was not used to him. And I don't want him to be there. I was used to staying with my mom. What has he come to do? Like now, the man in him, the man in the small boy has come up. What have you come in my environment to do?
This is
I'm
my
not
territory.
used to you. Yes. So,
and he had no authority over him at that time.
Yes.
I mean masculine authority.
Yes. But then, because there are those kind of families now where ladies, honestly, you're allowed to remarry. Let's say if you are a single mom and somebody comes your way and you can have a husband, why not? I used to tell these couples, come, let's sit, the four of us, myself, you, and maybe your son or your daughter, and let's have a candid conversation.
Wow.
And I would say, okay, let me call him Jack for the sake of this conversation. Jack, do you know who this is? He says, this is my mom. Do you know who this is? He nods his head. He doesn't answer.
He doesn't have a clear answer.
He doesn't have a clear answer. And then I would tell the father, talk to Jack. Tell him, I am not your real father. I'm not your biological father. But I love your mom. And have decided to come and live with you and your mom. If you just have a little love, even if it is 1%, that you can give to me, please do. I will never stand between you
and your mom
and your real father. And especially in this case, when both fathers are the same. And I would ask the parents, in the presence of this child, do you realize that there are going to be two fathers in this home? The real father of this boy and yourself. And you're going to have other children. You must keep the conversation going, because you will never be that family that it was just me and you and our children. You're a blend, and you must embrace that. Don't fight it. If you fight it, you will never win the battle. And I would the way I'm looking at you straight in your eyes, I would look at the man and I would say, you will never be the first man in this woman's life. There's somebody else. and you must embrace that part.
You must accept that.
You must accept it. And I tell the lady, you must know that this is not a first time, and you must accept it.
Yes.
And you must keep on answering the questions as the children grow, as your son grows, as your daughter grows. When these other ones will come on board, remember, there'll be that tinge of jealous that my mom is now leaning towards this side because this one has got her father in the house and I don't have mine. You must keep on talking about it. Does that conversation sound very candid?
It sounds candid. It's thought-provoking.
Yes, and very courageous to have a conversation like that. Can I lean over to a mother now?
Yes.
Who walks into a home and there is a father and a child.
Yes, please.
And other children. And I will sit together again with the ladies and tell the mother, you are not the original choice of Baba so-and-so. Do you realize there was somebody else? Either the mother could be dead or she's alive, but they went separate directions. And I would tell her, you are not number one and you will never be. So you must accept that you are an option in this man's life. He has chosen somebody else above his original choice. And the moment you accept that, then you will live in that space knowing that there is somebody else, there's a mother to this child, and she's alive walking this world. If she's dead, it's a different conversation. I would say you have a dead competitor. She's in the grave.
What a way to put it.
Yes, and the conversation about her will be coming up once in a while. Because in my home, my father kept his first wife's photograph until very recently, just before he died. It was on the wall. And I used to ask my mom, how do you feel looking at that picture? She used to say, the picture is just there. And we used to remind my mom, Mom, she's dead. Let the picture just stay there for the sanity of Dad. Because he likes to look at it there, and you have accepted that you are not the first one. And that's okay. So that's what I would tell the parents. I would tell the mother, you are not the first. And believe you me, I would follow up to home. And we would sit in the bedroom, and I tell the mother, talk to your stepson and tell him, I'm not your real mom. I came into the life of your father when your mother died, or I came into the life of your father when they separated. But I will never stand between you and your mom. If you ever thought of seeing her, you must see her. I would have candid conversations inside the house. I used to follow my students up to the bedroom.
What does separation do to children?
For me, it is like an amputation.
Yeah, separation and divorce.
Those two things, it is practical death. And the children and even the spouses mourn it for a long time. We should never pretend that stays alive as long as people live. And for the children, it is a rip-off. It is like you've cheated us. When you two disagree and fight, and then you tell us it has nothing to do with you, what do you mean that it has nothing to do with us? It has everything to do with us.
You're part of the family.
Yes, we don't have you. You don't have us. When the children are told, I love you, I love you, what is the definition of love when it comes to children? The definition of love is touch, it's presence, it is being involved, it is every day. But when you talk about that and it is not a practical thing that continues, and you replace that with things, it kills something within them that dies forever. It is grief that cannot be explained. It is a painful journey.
For the children. And it has an impact in their life thereafter.
Permanently. Yes.
Now, how can teachers or the people who are around these children notice a change in behavior of these children? At least you'd notice that maybe they've started wetting themselves, they're absent-minded. What are some of other signs that can indicate that this child all is not well at home?
They're angry. They're aggressive. They can. Life doesn't mean anything anymore
to a child.
Yes, they pick up habits. Like, let's say, for example, they begin to compare themselves with other children. Like, if it is girls, they think other girls are more beautiful than them. That family has more beautiful girls than me. If they are boys, they feel belittled as the man in the small body. They feel like somebody who was actually the genesis of my life walked out on me. Who else is going to walk away? Let me not even trust anybody. And they become very angry. Actually, anger is one thing, a sign that a child is dealing with something. Aggression. And some of the children actually turn to just being foodies. They can just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat non-stop. Some of the children do not even want to be told anything. They look at themselves like less. Why did you go away? Didn't I deserve your love? Or was I the cause that you left?
This conversation is quite heavy.
It is.
It is.
It is.
Unfortunately, the things that we're discussing here are very common out there in the society.
Yes.
How can such a child be helped?
Allow me to speak to the teachers. Although the teachers are not angels, we teachers also have our own families and we have our own share. But if you went into the teaching profession as a calling, and I'm not talking religion or spirituality, as something that you go to bed thinking about, you wake up thinking about, you literally turn over those children in your classroom or students in your classroom in your mind every time. Just know that you have something to contribute to this society. And imagine if we had teachers on the ground who literally followed up. Let me just say the way I did. Literally. You literally pick a child and say, something is going on. You have not been this way. At the beginning of the year, you are this way. Now we are in the middle and I can see a change. Is there something? Find out what is going on and become mature enough not to gossip about children, because children have feelings and they belong to a family that has feelings. Talk to the right people about the right child. If I am a teacher in a classroom, I will not be afraid to confront as parents. Because, like, let's say, for example, if a child begins to wet themselves in class 8, they are 12, they are teenagers, class 8, you're wetting yourself. You at your desk, something is wrong. The teacher, you must have a conversation. Find out what is going on. Is it change of house helps? Is it violence at home? Is it fear? And if you move close to a student in class and they freak, you go, just know they are fearing an authority. Every time when I got new students in my class, I used to ask their parents, what do you want me to know about your child? And I would ask my students in the classroom, what do you want to know about me? So that you can feel easy and I can be approachable. I was tough, but I was approachable completely.
Yes.
Yes.
And so parents can be also tough and approachable?
Yes. Yes.
Can you talk to them as well?
Yes. The conversation between the parent, the teacher, and the child must be a complete triangle. And we are in a society where parents find it very easy to tell the teachers, mind your own business, especially when we are pushing our nose into family things. I used to boldly tell the parents, your child is my business. That's why I'm pushing my nose. Yes.
That is funny, because I've also heard that there is that always talk of do not discuss the teacher with your child. Now you have reversed that. You're discussing the family with the student. How does that come along?
You know, when we say don't discuss the teacher with your child negatively, you know, the family today, people are really open. They can discuss a teacher. In fact, you can be confronted by a parent. I was confronted several times. In fact, one particular time I was really frightened because I was confronted by a very angry father. Reason being, I had discussed something with the child, and the child went home and said, "Teacher told me." And the father, because there was something really serious going on, and that particular season, he did not know where mom had gone, because the boy had told me, "Mom left and she didn't come back, and she has not come back for 3 days." So I tried to ask, when she left, what was she carrying? Was she having a bag? What happened? What time did she leave? Was there a fight? So when the child went home, he narrated the conversation, hoping that this conversation will produce mom between me and him and the father. And I had a very angry father come to school. But what saved me was they had just put up a rule that if you needed to talk to a teacher, you must go through the administration office. And when the heat began at the office, he was not allowed to reach me.
Okay.
But what I really want to say, we must allow parents to discuss the teacher on a positive note. If you hear so many negative reports about a teacher through your child, you have the right to just come and talk to me the way I'm talking to you. My son says this, my son says this, and don't come. Sometimes teachers are very scared of parents because it is very easy to land in a police station these days. But during our time, there was a maturity. But that is what I want the parents even today to pick, a maturity. Talk to the teacher and find out, why is my son afraid of school? Why is my son or my daughter not wanting to come to school? Why is this going on? Who is this child that my son keeps on talking about? Because literally, some kids are bullies. They can bully other children.
And when I come to talk to you about what my child says about you, won't you victimize my child as a teacher?
That is immaturity, really. Because I want to talk to the teachers out there and say, you must develop a skin. That you have to put something between, you have to separate the conversation between the parent and his child, and you and the student. And if you're mature enough, you will have a small conference like what we are having now. Yourself, the child, and
the parent.
I have had to apologize to some students when I have done something that I really had not understood why they did a certain thing, and the report went home. I have had to apologize to a child, say, "Jack, I'm sorry, I punished you yesterday. You had actually finished your work, but then I didn't check through too well, and I punished you so harshly. I want to say I'm so sorry. It was my fault." Because the child goes home and says, "I had done my work, my teacher punished me," and then I call the parent and I write a note in the diary. At 12:30, I called Jack in front of the other students, because I punished him in front of those students, to apologize that I had done this and I didn't need to do that. So I want to let you know that we have squared it.
You know what? At this point, you sound almost like a Gen Z teacher. Because I see them posting memes about teachers and asking. Nowadays they're even dancing on TikTok as they teach. They're using technology as teaching aids as well. So I see comments of our generations and the previous generations asking, where were these teachers when we were in school? If you can apologize to a student,
yes,
then it means you're of a different breed. Anyway, Mwalimu, what is the impact of all these things that you've listed? Separation in homes, disintegration, divorce, there are fights or conflicts between parents. What does all these things do to this adult in a small body, to a child, according to you?
The heart is real. It's flesh. It's not something you imagine. When your heart aches, even you as an adult, it literally aches. And it physically aches. When somebody says, my heart is aching, it does. I don't know why we think as adults that children's hearts don't ache. They ache so badly. I don't know, Kingori, if your heart has ever been broken.
Well, don't put me on the spotlight, but yes, to be honest, because we're having an honest conversation, it has been heartbroken.
Yes, and that is exactly how children feel. They even feel worse because you, when your heart breaks and you're an adult, you look for a fallback plan. The children have no fallback plan.
Because they don't understand it, or what?
It's just because they're children. They're still trusting you as an adult. Why would a child not trust the father? Why would a child not trust the mother? Why would a child ever imagine, like among the children I had, that they will come back home to the home where they live with their mother and find their mother's stuff has been moved from her bedroom to the sitting room in a corner, and another woman is in the same bedroom, in the same house? Why do we imagine that children can withstand that?
I see your point.
What kind of cruelty is that? Why wouldn't children's hearts break and really be crushed when they see maybe their car, they normally call it our car, parked next to another house? And if you got heartbroken, how do you imagine that a heart of a child can break? And those little adults now become you, the adult you. Either you carry that pain with you and you say, I will never be treated like this, and you become that is why some people go through several marriages. Why? Because my father, I saw my dad do this. When he couldn't solve an issue in the home, he moved to the next woman. And he moved to the next woman. And that is exactly then what the children do. But the interception would be, this conversation we are having is so important from an adult that they trust. They say, I know you saw this, but you can create your own generation. You can create your own life. You can create your own world. Why are the ladies, like, I tell you, I honor women who even have 4 children with different dads.
And why is that so?
Why that is so? Because they saw their dad jump from one place to another. Maybe they saw their mom jump from one place to another, and nobody had this kind of conversation with them while they were that small, those small adults. Yes.
So they have grown up with it.
So they have grown up knowing that is the right thing, unless somebody who, because you know, when you make your own blood family, the only family you have, your circle is very small.
Yes.
I can become your family from today, and I can follow you up, Mr. Kingori, and ask you, when we had this conversation last time, what did you pick from it? What is it about your life? Where is it pointing in your life? And we become family, and we talk to one another. Then we can be able to actually help one another bring up a society that is healing. We can heal each other. Yes.
That was my next question. Thank you for leading me there. How can we heal this? Actually, the word is healing. How do we heal these children? How do we heal these parents? How do we make parents understand that, yes, they are adults, but they are bringing up adults, and what they are doing might be reflected in the children? How do we heal the society?
There is a lot of blame game among us. We really blame one another. Fathers blame mothers, mothers blame fathers. And I always say, if you are doing something that you never used to do, and it brings up an upheaval in your family, there is something you started doing that you never used to do. Or there is something you used to do that you stopped doing. Like, let's say, for example, silly example anyway, if you ever used to bring a chocolate to your wife, then you stopped, that chocolate is going somewhere else.
That would be your interpretation. What if I don't have money?
That's my interpretation. No, you know, that is a small thing. There are very small things. Like when I was growing up, my dad used to bring my mom a small pack of groundnuts. You know, that little groundnut that used to be wrapped up in a small brown little paper. Very little. It used to be 10 cents that time. Maybe now it is 10 shillings. Surely. And he used to bring it faithfully. And he would bring it to my mom and say, and just to begin to talk to her so that he stands there for her to eat it. Because he knew if he moves away, she will
distribute to the children.
Yes. So he used to make sure. So those little things that people normally do at the beginning of a relationship, then they stop. 90% that affection could be going somewhere else. And if it is, don't ever imagine that children don't notice. They notice that dad used to open the door for mom when she came home, or when she got into the car, or when they were going somewhere. But that stopped. And dad used to stop looking at the TV when mom walked in. But then he continues looking at the TV when she walks in. Like nobody has walked in. Nothing.
She's right behind you.
Yes, nothing matters. You see. So those little things that people now normally notice. That's why children notice. That's why I was saying there are things that families used to do, they stopped doing. And it brought trouble. There are things they never used to do, and they started doing. Like, let's say, for example, can I use the example of my father? He came home at a certain hour. If he didn't come home by 6:30 in the evening because he worked far away, we knew something was wrong. Either his bicycle has broken down, or then he used to have a motorbike one time, it has broken down. Something is wrong. But he had a constant hour. But if that constant hour changes to 10 o'clock, midnight, the children are the first people to notice. When I ask who signed your diary, they say, our auntie. Your auntie as in? No, our house help. Why didn't dad sign? I didn't see him before I slept, and when I left in the morning, he had already left, or he was still sleeping when I left. Something has changed. You have started doing something you never used to do, and you have stopped doing what you used to do. And that brings a rip-off. And I can assure you, couples notice when something is going on. But pride and ego carries the day.
Wow, it's almost like a marriage counseling session here. Talk to the parents who overindulge.
What do you mean overindulge?
Maybe over drinking, over partying, because that is common nowadays.
I'm sorry to say, people can throw stones if they wish. There is just a generation that did not deserve to parent anyone.
And that is the current generation.
I can't say the current generation, the generation that has got no sense of responsibility over the children they have mothered and fathered. And it is extremely unfair to the children. You cannot tell a child, afadhali singekuzaa. You can't say those kind of words. That is uncouth. That is unlearned. that
uncivilized.
is uncivilized and uneducated. And unfortunately, it can come from very learned people. When you walk away from a responsibility that nobody forced you into, it is so uncivilized. You can say anything, but it is.
It is.
Yes.
So if there's one person out there who would want to come to the right path and parent the right way, I hear that you cannot be taught how to parent your child, but you know, their basics. What are they supposed to do?
You know, parenting has got no manual. And again, we are talking about this from where I sit as a teacher.
Yes.
Even when we would call our parents for a parents meeting, we always said, like, I am a parent and I have had my own flaws as a parent, and there is no parent who can tell you how to really parent your children. But all we need to know is that parenting is a responsibility that you can never hand over to somebody else. When we hand it to somebody else, it is a painful experience to the person who is being parented. When you own it, and like we said, life is daily. You make a mistake, you do some things right, you do some things wrong, and you talk about it. When there is no talking about something really, you end up putting your head in the sand and refusing to accept that this is something that you need to take on every day. The moment you get into a relationship, Mr. Kingori, if God really created your body right and created the other person's body right, there will be a child.
Yes.
And that is something that everybody needs to know. So when even parents who have come together, they have had children, and then they walk away from that responsibility, they create a society that is very harsh. Today we live in a cruel society that people are just killing somebody is very easy. Like we were off the camera and I told you an experience we had in our own family, and it has never left us really because of a love triangle between my sister and a friend that she had. And those jokes that people normally say, I either have you or nobody has you. I don't understand that kind of love. I'm still to understand it. And for sure it can turn out that way.
To be tragic.
Yes.
So you understand, or you can at least, you have a level of understanding of what families are going through out there as a result of femicide. There's a lot of lives of ladies being taken away.
It is something that our family never really talks about, especially when we realize that somebody else has gone through it. I watch those things and the wound is raw because I was grown up, I was in college when my sister ended up tragically. Her eyes were gouged out, her lips were cut off, her neck was twisted backwards, her nose was cut off, and it never left us as a family. It is raw every day. And I can imagine how my father and my mom felt. They never grew out of it. They never got over it. But they used that experience to hold the hand of somebody and just say, it shall be well.
It shall be.
Yes.
So what are the coping mechanisms that you've observed from these children who have experienced all the things that we've discussed?
One, I want to remind you what I told you, that I was, at some point, I would become the fallback plan. They walked into class, they saw me, they felt, I'm safe today. At the end of the day, I tried my best to be the last person to leave when everybody has gone. And if there was anybody, and because there were, who didn't know exactly where they are going to go that evening, because when they left home, they were told, Musirudi hapa. Yes.
So where do they go?
I would wait until evening, until the parenting parent comes, And then I will ask, okay, so is this story true? I'm told you're not going back to your house. So where are you going? And he would say, we have found a place. Our friend is going to keep us. And the following morning, I would be the first person to be told where we went. We went to our friends, our auntie's house or our neighbor's house, and we slept in the kitchen. And that is why I didn't do my homework. There was no light. I would be the next one to be told, now we have moved into a small house. There is hardly any space. We don't have a table. So that's why my handwriting is so bad, because I was writing from the floor. That was very common. Or we have been separated according to naming. Do you know this naming thing?
That you're named from the father's paternal side, maternal side.
Yes. Those of us who are named from my mom's side, teacher, we were left. Those who were named from my dad's side, they went to Mombasa. Now it is current news time. Yeah. So we didn't go because we are named after my mom's mom and after my mom's dad. So the ones who are named after my dad's dad and after my dad's mom, they went. Until I love the way the younger couples are doing it now. There's no naming after anybody. We just look for another name there. And
they're very good at it.
They have become so smart at it. They've become smart. The names are not anything to do with the family. No. In case that thing comes up, because it comes up between learned people. And
do you think it is as a result of that happening with the previous generation?
I think so. For me, I think so. Maybe people who experience that kind of thing, or they just felt like, okay, these names, zimepitwa na wakati. Let us look for our own names. But some of them, the younger couples that I have talked to, the names that you have given your children, surely, they said, in our family, it was who was named after dad's family to be given something. And those ones who are named, when there is a war, that trickled down to us.
And that is a coping mechanism.
That is a coping mechanism.
So now, after all that, somebody has gotten enlightened about the situations.
Yes.
And they are right inside. How do they break the cycle for the next generation?
It's a choice. It's a choice. Like for you, if there's an experience you've gone through and you don't want it to repeat, you will make a choice.
Sure.
You will make a choice. And the will to choose is a miracle. It is the greatest gift that God ever gave to us, that you can make a choice. You can choose not to, and you can choose to.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're just a decision away.
You're just a decision away. Like, I'm curious why you call yourself Wangeshi. You.
Yes, myself.
Why do you call yourself Wangeshi?
Because
I thought Wangeshi is a lady's name.
And I will have that discussion sometime later
on
another platform.
It is okay, but I was just curious. You see, because some of these things inform our choices. Like, there is a generation of men who have been brought up by their mothers.
Like myself.
And they have no idea, or they have no figure. They could know their fathers, but they never took responsibility. And they grew up saying, it's my mom I know, and it is by my mom's identity
that's it.
I'm going to grow up.
That's it.
And so I call myself John Musimbi. Musimbi is my name. If I had a son, I don't have a son. Yes.
So that's it. You have said it.
I have said it. So you see, that is a choice you made. And when, I don't know if you're married or not, if you are, you'll decide that the thing I saw my mother go through, I will not repeat it to anybody's daughter.
In fact, I don't want my child to go through.
I don't want my child to go through it, and I will not allow my wife, who now is a grown child, to go through it.
Absolutely.
She will not.
It is a choice.
And it is a choice, and you verbalize it.
Yes.
You say, I will not take you through what I saw my father take my mother through.
Yes.
I won't.
You are just a decision away.
You are a decision away.
Yes.
Yes.
from toxic parenting
to
toxic relationships,
yes,
brokenness,
yes,
and how they affect the children.
yes.
Now, today we are much better enlightened.
Yes.
What do you do nowadays?
I run an initiative. First of all, please remember I said I'm a mediator.
You're so many things.
I'm so many things.
Yes.
I'm a mediator. I really love to do one-on-one counseling, or if people are a group of friends and they have common values and interests and they want to move to another level with their relationship, I come in as a voice of reason. And then I run an initiative. I call it One Hand. And the reason why I started One Hand initiative, to hold one girl's hand at a time. Growing up, I wish somebody had just held my hand and said, let's walk through teenage together, let's walk through marriage decisions together, let's walk through family together. I wish somebody had done that. And I wish somebody had told me, when you are 2 or 3, the cord is not easily broken. You can always fall on one another. So I run an initiative. I call it One Hand Initiative. I have a website. I pick one girl. Sometimes it is just intuitively. I go to a school, I stay there for 1 week, I have a motivational talk with the girls, I have one-on-one counseling, I have group counseling, and then out of all the girls that I've talked to, I can just pick one. And I talk to her, and some 99.9% I'm not wrong. Yes. When I just talk to her and I say, talk to me, tell me about your family, how are you managing with school fees? I go back to well-wishers and I ask for any resource. The resource could be anything: emotional support, social support, anything. It could be just you again adopting this girl to make sure that you look out for her and just make sure that she actually gets to the end of what she's doing. So One Hand Initiative. I have one beautiful example. I walked into a school and I look at a class list and I asked the teacher, where is this student? Because when I went through the class list and I called out the name, she was not there. And the teacher says, this girl is a teenage mother. She had gotten a child at 16, turning 17, and she had dropped off. And I just made a request from the principal and I said, is it possible for this girl to be transported to school so that I have a conversation with her? And when I picked her on, I told her, you have my back. You have my back emotionally, you have my back spiritually. I will walk with you, I will make you my friend. She's been here to stay with me, with her little boy, just for them to have a different environment. And her family lives in Mathare. When I visited their home in Mathare, I felt like we don't understand. Many of us don't understand what it really means to be brought up in a slum. Yes.
But you saw it.
Yes. So One Hand Initiative is tied with a short rope to my hand. Normally joke and say, if I owe somebody anything, I will have a discussion. So I pick all my calls and I return all my calls. So can I give a phone number?
Yes, please.
0742 19 92 42.
So thank you so much, Mwalimu Christine, for having us, giving us a thought-provoking conversation and tackling such an unpopular topic. But I hope that they have learned, our audience has learned one thing or another, and we will change for the very best for the sake of our children. They are the future of this country, the future of the world. We need to take good care of them. So thank you for your conversation, for your insights, and we hope to have these conversations more with you. Would you want Mwalimu Christine to come back on the channel and discuss other things? If that is the case, the comment section is open. She says she's ready for the stones, but please don't throw them.
Please.
Constructive criticism.
Yes.
And correct in love.
Yes.
The Bible talks of rebuking in love.
Yes.
So let's do that in love. Thank you so much, Mwalimu.
I feel very good.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Please hold the door open for me to come again.
It is.
Yes.
It was a lively discussion. I've learned a lot myself.
I will know that you've learnt a lot when you come back. When you come
What a
back,
challenge.
Kevin, when you call me, then I'll know I made an impact. Lakini mkienda kabisa, I'll know there was nothing I did.
No, you also get engagements with our audience. Are they?
Yeah.
They're good people, in
Yeah.
as much as they throw stones,
Yeah.
even at me. But anyway, see, I'm your guy.
Imagine I don't even fear stones. I even look at, I read some of the comments that they sent to you when you interview ladies. Simuane.
Now you can imagine. These people have given me so many wives.
I even wonder, now utachagua
Yeah, I'm
gani?
spoiled for choice.
Imagine I laugh when I see, actually, you people, your chemistry is, I don't know what.
No, first of all, I don't know what they're going to say about our dress code. But
Whatever this.
Tuko family, what a thought-provoking conversation. And as I say, it's an unpopular topic, but I hope you've learned something from this episode of Tuko Talks with myself and Mwalimu Christine Vulimu. Am I right?
Yes.
I pray that the lessons you've learned here, you'll take them and apply them in your life as we bring up these little ones. My name is Kingori Wangeshi from Tuko. This has been Tuko Talks. And you matchmakers, Mwalimu amesema mwache kunipa bibi. A wife comes from the Lord. Bye-bye.